Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another wild ride through Reddit's craziest Am I the Asshole stories. And today, oh man, we've got drama, scandal, and some seriously unhinged moments you don't want to miss. From a Bridezilla showdown over a white dress to a bikini top controversy that had a mom fuming, these stories are guaranteed to keep you hooked. I appreciate every single one of you for stopping by, so don't forget to drop a comment on which story made your jaw drop the most. Hit that like button and subscribe because we're on the road to 10K subs. All right, enough talk. Let's dive into the madness. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister wear a white dress to my wedding even though it's not technically a wedding dress? Oh, this one is personal. Anyone who's ever planned a wedding knows there are few rules, but the ones that exist are sacred. And rule number one, the bride wears white. Period. End of discussion. But apparently the writer's sister didn't get the memo. So, let's set the scene. The wedding is just a few weeks away. Everything is ready, the venue, the dress, the guests, it's all in place. The writer has one very reasonable request. No one wears white but her. It's her day, her moment, her dress. Seems simple, right? Enter the sister. She's a bridesmaid, which means she should be supporting the bride, not causing drama. But instead of just picking a normal dress, she drops a bombshell. She sends a picture of what she plans to wear, and it looks like a freaking wedding gown. Not an oops, this is kind of white situation. This dress is tight-fitting, has pearl details, a train, like this is deliberate. This isn't a random white sundress. This is a moment-stealing, attention-grabbing, look-at-me kind of dress. And when the writer calls her out, she gaslights her. It's not technically a wedding dress. Okay. So as long as it's not sold under the wedding label, that means it's fine. That's not how this works. That's like saying it's not technically stealing if no one catches me. The writer, being incredibly generous, even offers to buy the same dress in another color. Deep green, burgundy, options exist, but the sister refuses. Why? Because it was never about the dress. It was about the attention. And now, mom is involved. Mom, of course, plays the peacekeeper card. Just let it go. It's not worth the drama. Yes. Classic family move. Instead of holding the person causing the problem accountable, let's guilt the person setting a boundary, because heaven forbid someone upset the golden child. But the writer, she stands her ground. She tells her sister, you wear that dress, you're not a bridesmaid. And instead of, acting like an adult and just choosing another dress, what does the sister do? Throws a tantrum, hangs up, sends a long, dramatic text calling the writer a selfish bridezilla. Oh, the irony, because last I checked, bridezilla means demanding unreasonable things. But saying, don't wear a white dress that looks like a wedding gown to my actual wedding is not unreasonable. At the end of the day, this isn't about fashion. This is about respect. And if your own sister can't respect you on your wedding day, when will she ever? Final verdict? Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. The only bridezilla move here would be allowing this nonsense to slide. And if the sister can't handle not being the center of attention for one day, that's a her problem. But what do you guys think? Is the writer being fair, or is this a pick your battles moment? And what would you do if a family member tried to pull this at your wedding? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Am I the asshole for embarrassing my stepmother by telling our neighbor that her relationship is a product of an affair? All right, let's get into this one, because this is not just family drama. This is a full-blown betrayal saga. So our writer is 16, still young, but old enough to know when someone has seriously wronged her. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. Her dad betrayed her mom in the worst way possible, while she was literally fighting for her life. Let's pause right there. Cheating is bad enough, but cheating on your wife while she's in the hospital battling stage 3 breast cancer? That is next level disgusting. And not just with some random stranger, with her coworker, someone who used to bring gifts for the kids, someone who was supposed to be a friend. Now, fast forward nearly a decade, and we see the damage left behind. The writer doesn't see her dad's new family as her own, and who could blame her? This wasn't some mutual divorce where everyone moved on peacefully. This was betrayal. But now, Dad wants her to come celebrate her birthday and his housewarming in a home that was built on the destruction of her family. Yeah, no thanks. She doesn't even want to be there. But because of custody arrangements, she has to spend time at his house. So she goes, tolerates the event, and then the moment that sets everything in motion. A well-meaning neighbor asks how she feels about having a stepmom and blended family, probably expecting some generic answer like, oh, it's been an adjustment, but we make it work. But the writer, she keeps it 100% real. She tells the neighbor exactly what happened, that this blended family isn't some wholesome, feel-good story. It's the result of an affair that shattered her family. And just like that, the party is over. Her stepmom, caught off guard, turns bright red and starts stammering about how there was no overlap and that the writer is just young and confused. Classic move. Instead of owning what she did, she tries to rewrite history. But the truth doesn't just disappear because it makes you uncomfortable. And then she runs to her room and locks herself inside, crying. All right, let's break this down. Does the truth hurt? Yes. Was it embarrassing for her? Absolutely, but let's be real. She wasn't crying because she felt guilty. She was crying because she got exposed. And then comes the real dagger to the heart. The father, the one person who should be protecting and loving the writer, does the exact opposite. Instead of comforting his daughter, instead of acknowledging why she feels the way she does, he screams at her, "You're so hard to love." Pause. Let that sink in. This isn't just a cruel thing to say. This is something that sticks. This is the kind of comment that a kid, no matter how strong they are, never forgets. And then, as if that wasn't enough, stepmom threatens to take the kids and leave if the writer continues coming over. And suddenly, Dad is on the phone asking Mom if he can just stop having her come over altogether. So basically, he's choosing his new family. Like, was there ever even a contest? The writer says she knows what she did was wrong. But was it? Because if telling the truth is wrong, then what about what they did? Final verdict? Am I the asshole? Absolutely. Positively not. If anyone should feel ashamed, it's the adults who made these choices. The writer didn't create this situation. She just refused to pretend it never happened. What do you guys think? Would you have spoken up in her shoes, or should she have just smiled and played along? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my parents be alone with my daughter after I found out the truth about an old family friend? All right, let's break this down, because this is one of those stories that just gets worse the deeper you go. The writer grew up in a household where questions weren't welcome. You don't ask, you don't push, you just accept. And that's exactly what they did when Uncle Ted was around. He was always there, babysitting, taking them places, buying gifts. He wasn't family by blood, but he was treated like family. Then one day he disappeared. No warning, no explanation. And when the writer, just a child at the time, asked where he went, they were brushed off. Don't ask questions. That was the rule, so they moved on. Fast forward to adulthood. The writer is now married with a daughter, and one day they run into Ted's ex-wife. They hadn't seen her in years. Naturally, they asked about Ted's kids, the ones they used to play with as children. And the ex-wife? She got weird. She didn't want to talk about them. That's when the writer started putting the pieces together. Something wasn't right. They brought it up to their mom, expecting maybe some awkward explanation, maybe a long-lost family drama. But what they got instead? A full-blown nightmare. The truth? Ted wasn't just a family friend. He was a predator. He had been caught with C-SAM. And not just caught, he was convicted. He took a plea deal, got probation, and had to register. His own ex-wife stayed with him at first, and as a result, they both lost custody of their kids. That's how serious it was. The government took away their children because this man was a danger. And yet, the writer's parents still let him be around them. Let that sink in. They knew what he had done. They knew, and they still let him babysit, still let him be in their home, still let him be around their children. Why? Because according to them, he made excuses. He swore he was framed. He spun a web of lies, and they fell for it. Or, more accurately, they let themselves believe it because it was easier that way. And they didn't cut him off until years later, not because of what he had already done, but because he started dating a 16-year-old girl while he was in his 40s. That was their breaking point. Not the crimes, not the conviction, not even the fact that his own children were taken away, just the fact that he made them personally uncomfortable. Now let's pause here for a second, because if your moral compass only starts working when the situation directly affects you, what does that say about you? But it gets even worse. After learning all of this, the writer realized they were likely being groomed. Their therapist even confirmed that while nothing physically happened, there were clear signs. Ted had been testing boundaries, getting them comfortable, preparing them. That sickening realization changed everything. The writer's husband was rightfully horrified. How do you trust people who made that kind of judgment call? How do you leave your daughter alone with them, knowing that they once let a predator babysit their own kids? You don't. And now, the parents are acting like they're the victims. They're saying, we made a mistake. We cut him off. You're overreacting. Overreacting? They didn't just make a mistake. They failed as parents. And instead of fully owning up to it, they're trying to minimize it, excuse it. They think they deserve a second chance. But how can you give a second chance when the first chance involved something this unforgivable? So now they're not allowed to be alone with their granddaughter and the family. Hindsight is 20/20. No, this isn't about hindsight. This isn't about learning from a small mistake. This is about basic, fundamental judgment. Because here's the thing, if they were willing to risk their own children's safety once, what's stopping them from doing it again? And the fact that they don't get that, that's why they'll never be trusted again. Final verdict? Am I the asshole? Not even a little bit. If anything, they're being generous by even allowing their parents to be in their daughter's life at all. But what do you guys think? Is this something that can ever be forgiven? Could you ever trust them again? Or is this a betrayal that crosses a line you can't come back from? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for being more excited about my mom's pregnancy than my stepmom's? All right, let's dive into this one, because this is not just about babies. It's about betrayal, resentment, and a father who just doesn't get it. Our writer is 16, a tough age in general, but even tougher when you're dealing with the wreckage of a broken family. And what caused that wreckage? Her dad cheated. Plain and simple, and let's not gloss over that detail. Her dad didn't just leave, he left for another woman. And not just any woman, the one he was sneaking around with behind his wife's back. And if that wasn't bad enough, he quickly married his mistress, adopted her kids, and started playing happy family. Now, fast forward to today, and suddenly, both mom and stepmom are pregnant. 2 new half-siblings on the way. And here's where things take a turn. Her dad and stepmom, Molly, sit the kids down for the big announcement. And while her younger step-siblings are bouncing off the walls with excitement, the writer, she gives them a polite congratulations, but that's it. And honestly, can you blame her? Because this isn't just, oh, my dad is having another kid. This is the woman who helped destroy her family now bringing a new life into the world with the man who betrayed her mother. Yeah, that's gonna hit different. But then, mom drops her own big news. She and Greg, the man who's been nothing but kind, patient, and respectful, are expecting too. And this time, writer is over the moon. Planning a baby shower, talking about how excited she is, finally feeling like there's something to celebrate. And then, stepmom notices. She sees the difference, and she just has to ask, so, what's got you all excited? And this is where it all goes down. Instead of just giving a short, neutral answer, the writer goes all in, raving about how thrilled she is, how she can't wait to meet the baby, just radiating excitement. And Molly, she just nods along, but she felt that. Fast forward to later that night, Dad shows up in her room. Now, this is where he could have chosen to be a parent. He could have acknowledged, hey, I get why you feel this way. I know things haven't been easy for you. But nope. Instead, he gaslights her. You shouldn't feel any different about this pregnancy. Molly's feelings are hurt. You need to apologize and fix your attitude. Excuse me? Fix her attitude? Let's get something straight. Feelings aren't a switch you can just flip because someone else wants you to. And honestly, the sheer audacity of this man. This is the same guy who broke up his family for another woman, then expected his daughter to just embrace their new life like nothing happened. And when she doesn't, he punishes her for not feeling the way he wants her to feel. And when she finally snaps and tells him the truth, that if Molly wasn't a homewrecker, maybe she'd feel differently, boom, now she's grounded. Phone taken, told she's acting juvenile. Let's be real. Dad doesn't want a relationship with her. He wants obedience. He wants her to pretend everything is fine so he can sleep at night. But the thing is, it's not fine, and his daughter isn't the problem. Final verdict? Am I the asshole? Not even close. This girl doesn't owe her stepmom forced excitement. She doesn't owe her dad fake smiles, and she sure as hell doesn't owe anyone an apology for feeling how she feels. What do you guys think? Should she just apologize to keep the peace, or does she have every right to stand her ground? Let me know in the comments. Shh, am I the asshole for calling off my engagement after my fiance revealed he is MAGA? MAGA. All right, buckle up because this one is not just about politics. It's about a complete ideological fracture, a decade-long relationship collapsing, and a fiance who just can't get it together. Our writer has been with this man since 2013. That's 11 years of investment. That's a long time to build a life with someone, to hope, to believe, to sacrifice. And make no mistake, she sacrificed. Let's take a look at the facts. She's been the breadwinner, not just making good money, but pulling in nearly $400K a year as a nurse in California. That's 2 jobs, full-time and part-time, to build a future. Meanwhile, her fiancé struggled to get a well-paying job, struggled for over a decade, went back to school on her dime, and still hasn't finished his prerequisites after 7 years. She chalked it up to depression, tried to help, tried to get him therapy. Instead of rising up, he spiraled. Instead of taking responsibility, he found someone to blame. And that's where things start getting dark. Radicalization. At first, it was little things. Offhand comments, excuses. Then it became more. Slowly but surely, he started parroting the talking points, blaming the economy, blaming others, blaming everything but himself. And then came Trump. Now this is the breaking point, because the writer, she's liberal, fiercely independent, a firm believer in women's rights, and yet she was engaged to a man who started worshiping a politician who stands against everything she believes in. And let's be clear, this isn't just about politics, this is about values. It's about respect, because let's not forget, this man made jokes about women losing their worth as they get older. And when confronted, brushed it off. That was a red flag. And then the past week happened. Non-stop rants. MAGA this, MAGA that. Talking about how Trump is going to fix everything like some kind of savior, like a man who's been waiting for someone else to fix his life. And then the final straw. She gave him his notice, told him it was over. And what did he do? Did he fight for her? Did he take accountability? No. He made himself the victim. Threatened suicide. Now let's be clear. Mental health is serious, but weaponizing it as a way to manipulate someone, to make them feel guilty for setting a boundary, that is toxic. And the aftermath? His parents stepped in. His mother is now babysitting him to avoid a 5150 hold. His father is packing his things. Even his friends are cutting ties. They see the writing on the wall, and through it all, the writer stands firm. Because here's the truth, people grow apart. And she's grown. She's built a life for herself. She put in the work. And when she realized her fiancé wasn't growing with her, but against her, she made the hardest decision, to walk away. And honestly, I respect the hell out of her for it. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. This isn't just a breakup over politics. This is a breakup over fundamental moral differences. And let's be real, men leave women all the time for things far more shallow. Yet, when a woman leaves because her partner no longer aligns with her values, suddenly, she's the villain? Nah. She deserves someone who respects her, who grows with her, who doesn't drag her down while she's building them both up. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for refusing to normalize my husband's behavior around our daughter's privacy? All right, folks, this one is chilling. It's one of those stories that sits in your gut like a rock and makes you wonder, how did we even get here? Our writer is a mother, a wife, a woman running on fumes. She's exhausted, overworked, and dealing with enough family stress to last a lifetime. But nothing could have prepared her for this. She lives in a small house, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Privacy? Basically non-existent. But even with that, there are boundaries, and her 7-year-old daughter is learning that she has a right to them. Here's the issue. Her husband won't respect those boundaries. And it's not just a one-time thing. This is a pattern. He insists it's normal for him to see their daughter changing. He insists on bathing her, even though she doesn't want that anymore. She resists. She says no, and he keeps pushing. And then comes the moment that breaks her. It's morning. She's helping her daughter get ready for school. The little girl is completely naked, and suddenly her husband just walks in. No knocking, no warning, just walked right in while their daughter was exposed, and that's when the little girl broke down crying. Now let's stop here. Because this isn't about parenting differences. This isn't about whether a father should be involved in childcare. This is about consent. This is about a 7-year-old girl setting a boundary and being ignored. And the worst part? The husband doesn't see a problem. He says it's no big deal. He says his wife is overreacting. He says it's outsiders who don't get to have an opinion on how they raise their child. But this isn't just about parenting choices. This is about trust. And our writer, she feels it in her gut, that horrible sinking feeling that something is not right. And then comes the update. After deleting her post, because let's be honest, sometimes Reddit can be a nightmare, she took a step back and reevaluated. This was never about whether their daughter can bathe herself. This was about her husband ignoring their child's discomfort and insisting it was normal. So she confronted him again. And what did he do? Doubled down. Called her unreasonable. Got defensive. Stormed out. And that was her answer. So now she's doing the only thing that matters, protecting her daughter. She's making sure her child knows that her body is hers. That no one, not even a parent, has the right to cross her boundaries. And as for her husband, well, something tells me he won't be a husband for much longer. Final verdict, am I the asshole? Absolutely not. This woman is doing what every parent should, putting her child's safety and comfort first. And let's be clear, when a child says no, that's the end of the conversation. The fact that her husband refuses to respect that, that's a red flag so massive it could be seen from space. So no, she's not the asshole. She's a mother doing her damn job. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my coworker's girlfriend come on our work trip? All right, let's break this one down. Our writer works in a tight-knit sales team. The kind where work trips aren't just about shaking hands and closing deals, but also about bonding as a team. It's a professional environment with a bit of camaraderie, but one thing it's not, a romantic getaway. Enter Jake. Jake has been dating Sophie for 6 months. And listen, 6 months isn't nothing, but it's also not exactly we can't function without each other territory, or at least it shouldn't be. But apparently Sophie just can't stand being apart from him. Now, we're not talking about a surprise visit or dropping by for lunch. No, Sophie wants to tag along on a full-fledged work trip. And here's the kicker. She doesn't work in sales. She doesn't work in their industry. She has no professional reason to be there. She just wants to come. And Jake? Instead of recognizing how weird this is, he actually asks if she can join. At first, our writer gives him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she has business there? Nope. She just wants to make a trip out of it, so the writer understandably shuts it down. And that's when Jake starts negotiating like this is some kind of hostage situation. He says he'll pay for her flights and hotel. He acts like that solves the problem, but the writer has to spell it out. That's not the issue. This is a work trip. At this point, Jake is not getting the hint. So the writer has to be even clearer. This isn't fair to the rest of us. We're not turning this into a couple's trip. Boom. Mic drop, end of discussion. But of course, Jake doesn't take it well. Now he's pouting, acting like the writer is being unreasonable, like he's somehow a victim here. So let's talk about that. Is the writer the absolutely not? Because let's be real, if Sophie comes, the dynamic shifts completely. Suddenly it's not just a work trip. It's Jake and Sophie's little getaway with a bunch of coworkers awkwardly orbiting around them. And what happens next? Other coworkers start bringing their partners. The whole trip loses its professional focus. What was once a productive bonding experience turns into an awkward mess. And let's not pretend this is a one-time thing. If Jake gets away with it, others will follow. Before you know it, these work trips will turn into a weird hybrid of business and The Bachelor. Final verdict? Final verdict? The writer is just enforcing basic professionalism. Jake and Sophie can take a vacation anytime they want, but this ain't it. What do you guys think? Is Jake just oblivious, or is he pushing boundaries on purpose? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I don't care if I hurt his mother's feelings? All right, buckle up, because this one is messy. Our writer is a 27-year-old new mom, married for 2 years to her 36-year-old husband, and living in what should be her home, except there's one problem: her mill. Now, let's set the scene. Miel is 76 years old, in great health, but somehow the husband thinks she needs to be taken care of. And what a lucky coincidence, she's already transferred ownership of the house to him. So what does that mean for the writer? She's stuck in a home that's technically her husband's, but still very much his mother's domain. And Miel? Oh, she's been playing the villain role flawlessly. Backhanded comments about the writer's body and home decor. Acting more like a jealous ex than a loving mother. Bad-mouthing the writer around town, even calling her a loose woman. Pause. A loose woman? For hugging her own husband? At this point, I don't know whether to laugh or scream. The husband's role in all this? Ah, yes, the mama's boy. He dismisses everything as a joke. He lets his mother insult his wife to her face and behind her back. And when he finally gets a chance to stand up for her? But our writer? Oh, she's patient. Maybe too patient. She lets it slide. She chooses peace over confrontation, even when Mill is dragging her reputation through the dirt. But then she has a baby, and Miel, she levels up. She starts talking to the baby like the writer is the worst mother alive. Your mom is so loud. Your mom dresses you so badly. Your mom won't even let you go out with Granny. Passive-aggressive Olympic-level shade. And where's the husband? Still making excuses. She's just joking. At this point, our writer has had it. Enter the petty clapback. Mill is criticizing another Mill for being toxic, and the writer sees her moment. She agrees with Mill, but with a twist. She says she understands why some Miles feel jealous when their sons give all their attention to their wives, and that it's especially hard for widowed Miles who have no husbands of their own. Then she sweetly, sarcastically tells her Miel, luckily, you're not toxic and not jealous at all. Oh, the silence, the tension, the look on Miles' face. Beautiful. Miel leaves the room, clearly annoyed. And what does the husband do? Does he finally back his wife up? Does he finally say, wow, you know what? My mom has been awful to you. Nope. He gets mad. Why? Why? Because his poor mother's feelings were hurt. Are you kidding me? The same mother who called his wife a slut, who trashed her to the entire town, who insults her as a mother daily, but now, when she gets a taste of her own medicine, now it's a problem? And the writer? She's done. She tells him, "Your mother has hurt me so many times and you never cared, so why should I care if I hurt her feelings?" Boom. Now the husband is mad. And the writer? She's seriously considering separation. Honestly, I don't blame her. Final verdict? Is the writer the asshole? Absolutely not. In fact, she's been way too patient. This isn't just about Mill's toxic behavior, it's about the husband enabling it. And at the end of the day, if your partner consistently chooses their mother's feelings over yours, then you are not in a partnership. So, what do you guys think? Should the writer leave, or is there any way to salvage this marriage? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Am I the asshole for treating the guy I was forced to marry horribly? All right, this is not just a story. This is a nightmare. Our writer is 24 years old, and 3 years ago, she was forced into a marriage she never wanted. She fought back. She said no multiple times, but her parents didn't care. They guilt-tripped, manipulated, and blackmailed her into sacrificing her own life for their decision. And the guy? A 33-year-old man who had every opportunity to walk away. The writer told him to his face, months before the wedding, that she did not want this. And yet, he went through with it anyway. Red flag number 1. Then, even after the wedding, she immediately asked for a divorce, not once, not twice, constantly. But her so-called husband refuses to let her go. Why? Because this isn't a marriage to him. It's a contract where he owns her. And now? After 3 years of living apart, he finally gets his visa, moves in, and turns her life into a living hell. He doesn't respect boundaries. He believes consent doesn't exist in marriage. He forces himself on her constantly. He plays the victim every time she stands up for herself. And worst of all, her own family is siding with him. Let's pause for a second. This isn't just a bad marriage. This is abuse. This man is not her husband. He is her captor. The psychological war. The worst part? Everyone else sees him as a nice, good guy. They tell her, you need to try harder, spend more time with him, let yourself fall in love with him. But let's be real. How do you fall in love with someone who ignores your pain, who forces himself into your space, who refuses to accept that you are a human being with agency and choice? Every single day, she fights for her own safety. She begs for basic respect. She tries to explain calmly, please don't do this. I don't like it. He ignores her. She sets boundaries. He shatters them. She finally yells because she's at her breaking point. And suddenly, she's the problem. And then he flips it around. I'm just trying to love my wife. No. No, you're not. You're trying to control her. You're trying to gaslight her into submission. And the fact that her own parents are backing him up? Now, here's where the writer gives us a glimmer of hope. She's in Canada, which means she has options. She's already reached out to lawyers to see if she can have his visa revoked. She's applied for housing so she can escape. She's counting down the days until she can legally file for divorce. And even though everyone around her is trying to convince her she's wrong, she's holding on to one undeniable truth. She is not happy. She does not want this. And that is enough. Final verdict? Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. In fact, she's the only one thinking clearly here. This isn't about treating him horribly. It's about basic survival. And to anyone who dares to ask her why she won't just give him a chance, here's the real question. Why does she have to destroy herself to make everyone else comfortable? She doesn't. And she won't. Run. Get out. Never look back. And for anyone else watching, if you've ever been in a situation like this, know that you are not crazy for wanting out. You do not have to stay trapped in someone else's version of your life. What do you guys think? Should she wait it out, or should she run and never look back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Am I the asshole for holding on to my niece's belongings until my things were returned? All right. Let's talk about boundaries. Our writer is someone who cherishes their small ceramic figurines, not because they're expensive, but because they're special. Sentimental value is a real thing. You don't just brush it off because the items aren't worth a fortune. Now, everything seems normal at first. Family visit, kids playing, adults chatting, until a few days later, the writer notices something is missing. At first, they second-guess themselves. Did I misplace them? Am I imagining this? But then, boom! A photo appears on social media, and what do we see? One of the missing figurines proudly displayed in the niece's room. Caught! So, the writer does the reasonable thing and reaches out. And what does the sister say? Oh, yeah, she probably took them. We'll bring them back next time. Hold on. Probably. Your kid is out here treating family visits like a shopping spree and you're acting like it's no big deal? But fine. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she really did forget to check. Fast forward to the next visit. Does she bring the figurines back? Nope. And her excuse? Oops, I forgot. All right, now we have a problem because at this point, it's not just about the kid taking something, it's about how the sister is handling it. She's not teaching her daughter that taking things without asking is wrong. She's not making it right. She's brushing it off. And let's be honest, if the roles were reversed, if the writer's kid had walked off with something from the niece's room, you already know there'd be a full-blown investigation and a demand for an immediate return. So what does the writer do? They play by the same rules. Since the sister doesn't seem to care about returning the figurines, the writer decides, okay, let's see how you feel when the situation is flipped. They gather up all the little things the niece has left behind during previous visits, toys, notebooks, hair accessories, and make sure they only get returned when the figurines do. Now, suddenly, the sister is upset. Oh, now it's petty to involve kids? Where was this energy when her daughter was casually walking off with things that weren't hers? So, the next day, the sister magically remembers to bring the figurines back. Not only that, she shows up with extra ones that weren't even the writer's. Guilt offering? Panic? Who knows? But the writer gives them all back along with the niece's belongings and lays it down. Next time, take this seriously. Now the family is divided. The sister is mad. The mom thinks the writer should have just talked it out calmly. But let's be real, talking was already done. The writer gave the sister multiple chances to handle this the easy way. She chose to drag her feet. So, am I the asshole? Absolutely not. This wasn't about being petty. This was about setting a boundary. If you excuse bad behavior, you encourage it. And if a kid is old enough to take something that doesn't belong to them, they're old enough to learn that actions have consequences. But what do you guys think? Was this a fair way to handle it, or was it an overreaction? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for asking my sister to return the money I gave for her wedding because she won't invite my girlfriend? All right, let's break this down. Our writer, a 28-year-old guy, loves his girlfriend and has been with her for 2 years. That's not some casual fling, that's a serious relationship. And his sister, she's getting married in 2 months and wants the wedding of her dreams. But here's the thing. Dream weddings cost money. And guess who helped fund that dream? Our writer. He pitched in $2,500 because, hey, family helps family. Sounds nice, right? But here's where it gets messy. The sister refuses to invite his girlfriend, not because of some major unforgivable betrayal, not because of a cheating scandal or some deep personal grudge. Nope. It's all over a tiny misunderstanding from a year ago. Yes, a year ago. So what exactly happened? Apparently, the sister and the girlfriend were talking about skincare. The sister, huge skincare and makeup fan, mentions that she blew an entire month's salary on one product. And the girlfriend, she reacts, wow, that's a lot for one product. Now let's pause right here. Was that a rude comment? Not really. Was it a little surprising? Yeah, spending that much on skincare isn't something everyone does that way. But did the girlfriend mock her? Did she insult her choices? Nope. But the sister, she took it personally. And instead of letting it go, she held on to that moment for an entire year, treating the girlfriend like she committed some unforgivable sin. And now she won't even let her come to the wedding? That's next level grudge holding. And let's be real, this whole "she's not family yet" excuse? Total nonsense. You can't tell me that not a single non-family guest is invited to this wedding. Old college friends? Distant coworkers? Plus ones of random cousins? Yeah, they're probably on the guest list. But the girlfriend of the man who helped pay for the wedding? She's not allowed in? Make that make sense. So our writer does what any reasonable person would do. If my girlfriend isn't invited, I'm not coming either. Oh, and I want my $2,500 back. And now, suddenly, the sister is crying to their parents. So let's ask the big question. Is he the asshole? Absolutely not. This isn't about being petty. This is about fairness. If you take someone's money, you don't get to disrespect them in the process. You can't accept thousands of dollars for a wedding and then turn around and tell them their serious partner, someone they might marry, doesn't deserve a seat at the table. That's entitlement. If the sister wants to pick and choose who attends her wedding, fine. Her choice. But she doesn't get to pick and choose whether or not to keep someone else's money. Actions have consequences. And what do you guys think? Was he justified in asking for the money back? Or do you think he took it too far? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for embarrassing my husband's coworker after he embarrassed us? All right, let's set the stage. Our writer, a proud new mom, just welcomed a beautiful baby boy after years of trying. This should be a time of pure joy for her and her husband, and for the most part, it was, until one loudmouth, disrespectful coworker decided to spread lies behind her husband's back. What happened? After their baby was born, her husband, beaming with pride, sent out a birth announcement to his coworkers. A sweet moment, nothing out of the ordinary. But then, enter the office gossip. This guy, a new employee, mind you, saw the photo, and instead of minding his damn business, he took it upon himself to analyze the baby's genetics like he was some kind of expert. And what conclusion did he come to? That our writer's husband couldn't possibly be the father. Why? Because the baby was too light and had hair that was too straight. This man, who barely even knows our writer's husband, took it upon himself to spread a disgusting rumor that the baby must have come from a white or Asian father. Not just a whisper here and there. No, he went around telling anyone who would listen that our writer must have cheated and that her husband was a fool for believing otherwise. Imagine that. The fallout. When her husband found out, he was furious. He confronted the guy immediately, and of course the guy denied everything. Oh no, I was just joking. I only said the baby was too cute to be yours. Yeah. Except that other coworkers backed up the truth. They confirmed exactly what this guy had been saying behind his back. Luckily, he was removed from the shift. Problem solved, right? The office event. Fast forward to a company event. Families were invited, so our writer and her husband bring their beautiful baby boy. And who do they run into? That same guy. And because he clearly has no shame, he actually walks up to them while they're chatting with the boss and inserts himself into the conversation. Now, at this point, our writer had a choice. She could let it slide and pretend everything was fine, or she could say what needed to be said. And she chose the latter. She looked him dead in the eye and said, "I don't believe we've met. But aren't you the guy who went around telling everyone in the office that I must have cheated on my husband and that this couldn't be his son?" Silence. This dude went red like a tomato. The boss didn't even hesitate. "See me in my office first thing Monday." And then he walked away. The aftermath. Now here's where the debate comes in. Her husband, he thinks she went too far. He says the whole thing was already over and she didn't need to bring it up again. But our writer, she says it wasn't over for her, because while this guy was dragging her name through the mud, she never got to confront him herself. She was the one being defamed, not her husband. And honestly, I'm with her on this one. This wasn't some petty argument over nothing. This man tried to publicly humiliate her family. He tried to convince an entire office that she was a cheater and that her husband was a fool. And when he saw them in person, he had the audacity to act like nothing happened. Actions have consequences. She didn't cuss him out. She didn't make a scene. She simply held up a mirror and let him choke on his own words. And the best part? She didn't even have to take it further for her. So, am I the asshole? Absolutely not. But what do you guys think? Was she right to call him out, or do you think she should have just let it go? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for ignoring my wife after she threw away my late wife's videotapes? All right, everyone, buckle up because this one hurts. This isn't just some petty argument over something small. This is grand. This is grief, love, and betrayal all wrapped into one devastating moment. Let's dive in. Our writer had what most people dream of, a deep, loving relationship with his late wife, Chloe. They met in college, fell in love, got married, and started a beautiful life together. And then pure tragedy struck. After only 2 years of raising their daughter, Eleanor, Chloe was killed in a car accident by a drunk driver. Just like that, in an instant, she was gone. And not only did our writer lose the love of his life, but his 2-year-old daughter lost a mother she would never even remember. But Chloe had left something behind, something priceless. During her pregnancy, they recorded everything. Jokes, meals, moments of excitement talking to their unborn daughter through the camera. And they made a promise that Eleanor wouldn't see those tapes until her 18th birthday. So for 16 years, our writer held on to them. Through the grief, through the heartbreak, through the years of raising Eleanor alone, those tapes were sacred. And now, just weeks before her birthday, he was ready to finally show them to her. And then, in one selfish, heartless act, those tapes were gone. Enter Wendy. Years later, when Eleanor was 13, our writer met Wendy. She was a single mom, had just been through a divorce, and they hit it off. Eventually, they got married. But here's where things get uncomfortable. Wendy never liked when our writer talked about Chloe. Now, let's be real, that's not entirely shocking. No one wants to feel like they're living in someone else's shadow. But our writer wasn't comparing them. He wasn't saying, Chloe was better than you, or why can't you be like her? He was simply keeping the memory of his daughter's mother alive. Because guess what? Eleanor never got to know her. And if our writer didn't tell her, who would? Wendy, on the other hand, couldn't handle it. She constantly felt like she was competing with a ghost. And then one day, she snapped. The ultimate betrayal. Our writer had just told Wendy about the tapes, how excited he was, what they meant to him, how much it would mean to Eleanor. Wendy acted like she understood. She even asked to see them. And then the very next day, she threw them away. No hesitation, no remorse, just a cold, emotionless statement. You talk about her too much. You need to move on. This is a head start. A head start? She didn't just throw away tapes. She threw away the last living memories of a mother her stepdaughter never got to meet. And for what? Jealousy? Insecurity? Control? This wasn't just a mistake. This was deliberate. And it was irredeemable. The fallout. Our writer? Absolutely devastated. He lost everything in those tapes, not just for himself, but for his daughter, and now Wendy is apologizing. But honestly, how do you even fix something like this? She didn't just delete a file. She didn't misplace a keepsake. She permanently erased something that can never be replaced. And now their mutual friends are texting him, telling him to get over it, because it's been 10 years. I'm sorry, what? How do you just get over losing the last piece of your wife? How do you get over knowing your daughter will never get to see her mother's face move, hear her voice, or witness the love that existed before she was even born? And let's be honest, this isn't just about the tapes. This is about trust. How do you trust someone after they've proven they're capable of something like this? So, am I the asshole? Not even close. Ignoring Wendy? That's not just understandable. That's the bare minimum. Because honestly, if it were me, I don't know if I could ever forgive her for this. But what do you guys think? Is this forgivable or is this beyond repair? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for making my coworker a separate meal after she insulted my cooking? All right, let's set the scene. Small office, weekly potlucks, homemade food. Our writer loves cooking, and honestly, that's a skill to be celebrated, especially when you're bringing in something as flavorful and rich as Thai cuisine. But then we have Kate. Kate, who apparently believes the world should revolve around blandness. Kate, who treats anything outside of her turkey sandwich comfort zone as some kind of personal attack on her senses. And at first, it's the little things. Wow, that's pungent. Your food is so intense. Why does it smell like that? Ma'am, it smells like seasoning. Something your food has likely never met. But then, oh no, Kate takes it a step further. She hits our writer with the classic ignorant food commentary. Did you grow up eating bugs? So I saw a documentary about Thai people eating crickets. That must be normal for you. Excuse me? Kate, please tell me what documentary you watched that gave you the confidence to speak like this in public. And here's the kicker. Our writer takes the high road. They don't snap back. They don't call Kate out in front of everyone. They keep it cool. Fast forward to the next potluck. Writer brings in cow soy, a rich, fragrant, creamy northern Thai curry noodle soup. Sounds amazing, right? Well, not to Kate. Kate takes one bite, pulls that face, and drops a classic backhanded insult. Oh, this is strong. And this time, our writer takes notes. The masterpiece of petty. The next time it's their turn to cook, they prepare two meals. One is their usual delicious dish, and the second, a plain, unseasoned grilled chicken breast, steamed veggies, a little cup of ranch, with a note for Kate, since I know she prefers something simple. And let me tell you, this was art. This was Michelangelo-level pettiness. And what does Kate do? She loses her mind. You're singling me out. You're making me look bad. Ma'am, I thought you wanted something less intense, something without flavors, smells, or personality. You got exactly what you asked for. So, am I the asshole? Honestly, not even a little bit. Kate has been making rude, borderline racist comments about your food for months. She embarrassed you, mocked your culture, and dismissed your cooking. All you did was serve her what she claimed she wanted. Maybe next time she'll learn that if you don't like the heat, stay out of the damn kitchen. What do you guys think? Petty genius or justified karma? Let me know in the comments. Am I the asshole for untying my bikini top at a public pool? All right, let's break this down. Our writer is just trying to enjoy a peaceful morning by the pool. It's 10 a.m. The sun is out, the place is empty, and life is good. She's got her bikini on, she's catching some rays, and maybe even getting some work done. Seems like a perfect drama-free day, right? Wrong. Because here comes the mom brigade. Around 11:30 a.m., a woman rolls up with her kids, surveys the vast empty expanse of poolside chairs, and decides, out of all the available spots, that the best place to sit is right next to the only other person there. Why? This is like when you park in an empty parking lot and some random person pulls in right beside you. It's weird behavior. But fine, whatever. Writer minds her business. She's on her stomach, tanning. She's top untied, but still on, because nobody wants awkward tan lines. And then here it comes, the disapproving mom look. You know the one, that judgmental squint, the slow shake of the head like you just committed a crime against all of motherhood. And then she says something, that's inappropriate, my kids are here. Ma'am, what exactly are your kids seeing? Let's be clear, nothing is exposed. No wardrobe malfunction, no scandalous behavior, just a woman tanning on her stomach like millions of people do at the beach, at pools, literally everywhere. And our writer, she keeps it simple. Well, you could go sit somewhere else if you don't like it. Reasonable, fair. But oh no, that's not good enough for Momzilla. She calls her the asshole. Excuse me? Let's get something straight. You chose to sit there. You created the problem in your own head. You could literally move to any of the 40+ empty chairs. Instead, you decide to make a scene over someone tanning. At this point, it's not about the bikini, it's about control. Some people see a young woman comfortable in her own skin, and feel the need to police it. And let's not even start with the double standards. Men can walk around shirtless, no problem. Women, fully covered except for a backstrap untied, and suddenly it's the fall of society? Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. The only thing you did was exist in a way this woman didn't personally approve of. Maybe next time she can teach her kids a better lesson. Mind your business. But hey, what do you guys think? Was the writer out of line, or is this just another case of unnecessary mom drama? Let me know in the comments.